car. Hey campers, George here, back in the man cave, the horror. What I'm doing here is I'm just looking at something that I bought. If you saw my last video, the one on the one-man flip over ice house Travis gave me, this one up here. It had a little problem with it, and he recommended that I get a repair kit for it. In the tub there is a crack down the front. It's not a safety issue or anything like that, but what happens is water gets in when the ice melts and things like that. You really don't want anything in there because that's where you put all your stuff when you're pulling it along or you're sitting there fishing. He had sealed it with something, I'm not sure what it was, but it just cracked and started to fall off. So he recommended that I get a plastic welding kit. This guy here. And he said Harbor Freight have it. So I trudged on down to Harbor Freight, got this. And this is the Chicago Electric Welding 80-watt iron plastic welding kit. And it says here, great for repair problems like TPO, TEO, and PP. Materials used in car bumpers. It includes repair sticks, steel wire mesh, and welded strand and a wire brush. So here it is here, you can see it there, and it has obviously the iron, which looks like a giant soldering iron, and then you have the sticks and the brush and all the other gizmos. So I wanted to have a look at that because I'm going to fix my tub. So I'm hoping that this is going to work. So I wanted to look inside here quickly. Here you can see has everything in there. There is here the 80-watt plastic welding kit with iron instructions. So and here is the welder, and you can see the tip there is like a triangle, and I assume it gets hot enough. This is, what did it say, 80-watt plastic welding kit, 120 volts. 60 hertz. So, and here we have 50 pieces of plastic welding rods. So I assume you put these over the crack and melt it in, I would assume. And then we have, more plastic pieces. Oh, that's different. These here. And if you look at it, they kind of have that angle to it. So I suppose you, just like welding, you would grind a little V into it and then melt it into that slot. So we have a wire brush to clean up where you're going to do that. You have wire mesh here and a little stand for you to put your soldering iron. So that's the kit. That's what we're going to use to fix the ice house, allegedly. Hopefully this will work. And this is how much I paid for it at Harbor Freight. And if you saw the last video, it is the Clam Kanai Pro. Clam Kanai Pro, one-man flip-up. And it is the thermal as well. And it's in pretty good nick considering how old it is. Travis did look after it. He said it's just been sitting in his garage for a while. And he had done some wiring for lighting and things like that. So I don't need to do anything like that. I just need a battery for the wires. Not a problem. I do have batteries. My fish finder has a 9-volt. Maybe I'll just connect it to that when I'm, the LED light system isn't going to pull too much out of that. So let's go do some plastic welding. Ooh. Okay, so I've turned it upside down outside, and I wanted to see where the damage was. And as you can see, Travis has already tried to seal it, and I believe that he used fiberglass. You can see it here, the fiberglass patch. Now, the odd thing is that the damage is here, and this is the back side of the tub. You pull it from that side over there, and there seems to be not much damage there. There is a bit of wear and tear there, but apparently here is where all the damage occurred. I'm going to have to at least clean it up, and I'm thinking of using these guys and just maybe adding some extra protection, 2 of them like that there, and melt them on just to give them a little bit more strength or depth in the material. They do say make sure it's clean, and then, you know, if you have sandpaper, just rough it up a little bit. But what I want to do is look on the inside and see if I can actually see where the cracks are. Okay, so I've folded the cover back so I can have a look inside here. And I'm not sure I can show you this, but the crack was. And it looks like, and I understand now why it's happened, this is the area that you sit on and fish. So I think with the weight here, and maybe the ice was a little uneven or something like that, I sat on it and it cracked through. Maybe you need to just support the inside a little bit more. Pieces in this area here, try and flatten this down. And just do it on all 4 of those pieces. And I did discover what that extra pole is for. I think I've figured it out. We'll have to have a look-see when I'm done here. So that's what I'm going to do. If I have enough plastic left over, I think I might try and put a little bit more protection on the front. So here I have the soldering iron, and I'm just going to sit it on this piece here. I'm going to plug it in. They said 5 to 10 minutes to get it up to heat. That's what I'll do, and then I'm just going to see if I can melt one of those pieces on there. So I'm going to plug it in and let's see what happens. Okay, so I've had it on for about 10 minutes now. Let's see if we can melt something here. It melts this stuff pretty good. You can see there. You see it there. So it looks like it's ready. So I'm going to cut some of these pieces up and let's try and weld them on. I did clean up the front a little bit. This, and just weld it in there. Hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. Just to support this inside. So let's give it a try. So what I'm going to do is weld the first piece in on one side and then bring it across. So I don't know if you can see that. I doubt it. Maybe I'll show you when I'm done. See what it's like when it's dry. I do want to give it more support though, so we need to do that. Just so that you know, this was a little straighter. Can you see how that's bent? It's actually melted that rod. I'm just pressing too hard, and it's actually hot enough that the metal tip here is actually bent over because of the heat. Interesting. Look how much it bent. Let's see if I can straighten it on here. Look at that. Huh. That's not good. It broke off right at the threads. I don't like that. It's kind of disappointing. But fortunately it happened when I tried to straighten it. I've actually finished filling in that hole on the inside anyway. Looking at it now, it looks pretty solid in there. And I tell you, that's disappointing. It didn't even put a lot of pressure on it. All I was doing was just holding it on the plastic and letting it melt through and moving along and spreading it out. And it bent. And then it bent right at the threads. And then, of course, when I tried to straighten it, it snapped off. I'm pretty sure Harbor Freight will have spare tips for them. So what do? Here you can see where I melted it in here. And, you know, you just put the plastic, then you literally just melt it into it. And I built it up on the front there. It certainly has added a lot to it. So if you saw my last video, the problem I had, where you going? You can't go any further. Mary. Sorry. The last time I looked at it was this pole here. I couldn't figure out what it was for. Now, having spoken to people who know what they're doing, it is a support for the back. And if you look carefully there, I will put this right in the hole. See that hole there? It fits in that hole like that and goes up and clips onto here. So it goes there. Can you see that? And it clips onto that pole. And what it does is it tightens up the whole back of the tent and keeps it nice and stiff, so it doesn't flap or anything like that. So success. I almost know what I'm doing now. So just looking at it, I'm trying to figure out, this comes down on the inside, so it opens us up, which allows the heat to come out at the top, which kind of gives you some sort of, circulating ventilation. When you have a heater in there, it can get pretty warm. It's not a very big space, so it doesn't take much. And I'm going to get a big bit of buddy, and that'll be more than enough to heat this. In fact, I'll probably run it on low and have the windows open and those flaps open, so I don't in there with too much heat. The issue is that when it gets windy and that, is it going to push me around with the wind? I'm not very heavy, and I don't know if I'm heavy enough to stop it from being pushed on the ice. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to do tie downs on it. Maybe using deck screws like I use on my kayak, and putting little tie down loops on each corner and just have them screw into the ice. Maybe that's the way to go. So far we've got that leak fixed up. Hopefully that'll do the trick, stop the leak, but I'm going to do a little bit more with it. But I just wanted to show you the kit that I got, which turned out to bomb on me. As you can see, the tip broke off, and I think one of the reasons is, if you look there, let me get in closer for you. If you look at the tip, it broke right on the thread, but I'm pretty sure we can get a replacement part for it, so I'm not too concerned about that. Kind of disappointing. After all, I did pay a fortune. You saw what the price was. It is the Chicago Electric Welding 80-watt iron plastic welding kit. Everything about it seems to work fine. It melted this plastic perfectly, and you have these little rods as well, which I suppose you could do like stick welding and just melt the plastic on. It does have, if they're doing flexible corner joints or something like that, you can use this. They say that's what for. You'd put that on there just to give it some strength on where it flexes. We're getting somewhere. The ice house. My buddy Travis, kind enough to give me this. He wasn't using it anymore, was just sitting in his garage, and he said, might as well put it to good use. It still works just fine. A little beat up, but saved me about $400 to $500. So now I need a heater and an auger, the two big ticket items for me. I'm going to head over to Travis's right now. I'm going to take my Hilti hand drill with me. We're going to see if it'll fit onto the Clam auger adapter plate to see if I can use that. If not, don't forget now, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. Pretty sure I'll be back with someone else. Probably something for ice fishing. After all, we're getting close. Well, kinda. But I will say this. If you think fly fishing can get expensive, ice fishing, hands down, you can spend a lot more. Just saying. Be safe out there. Thanks for watching.